Sisters, and we are here today to show you, as you may see we are wearing, our lovely Tilly and the Buttons
Rosa
shirts, which we loved making. We really enjoyed it, didn't we?
It was. We had a couple of hours. Was it yesterday or the day before? Friday, and we took a few hours and we had them all cut already, but we just did all the sewing together, which was lovely.
Yes, and we absolutely love them.
Yes.
It was a really fun sew because we find, because we do a lot of teaching, a lot of what we sew has to be really quick and therefore quite simple.
Yeah.
Otherwise we just never have a chance to get it done. So it's quite nice to do something that was a little bit more complex.
Yes.
And also because it's been winter, I've been sewing with so many knit fabrics and sewing everything out of jersey and scuba.
It's nice to go back to a cotton.
Yeah, it was nice to get back to a nice woven fabric project.
Something wasn't stretching and falling off the table and doing stuff like that. It always does.
But we absolutely love them, don't we? We're so pleased with them. And it's funny because I agreed to make this shirt with Nikki because I know she really wanted to make it, but I wasn't really sure because I'm not really a shirt girl, as I said on the last video.
But you've put your twist on it.
I have, but I really love it, and I think that I probably will make some more.
I've already sneakily bought yet more fabric to buy.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. We were in John Lewis the other day and there was a sale on, so
it's this mint green. It's a really soft, it's almost like a brushed cotton, but it's not quite a brushed cotton.
Yeah.
And it's got this sort of geometric pattern.
Yeah, they're almost like, if you can imagine technical drawings, but in like a white on a mint green background.
I've already cut it out, so I'm quite excited to make it, as you can tell.
Yes, it's very, very Nikki.
Yes.
It's the perfect choice of fabric for
her. It was lovely. But I've gone for the traditional. I did everything straight off the bat. I didn't touch anything. I did the cuffs as she was intended, and I stayed with the pointy collar and everything like that, because this was kind of like my trial run before I went on to my more expensive Liberty fabric. But you've mucked around with yours and put your spin on it with your short sleeve.
I have. So I went for a short sleeve, but I went for more of a little puff sleeve, not too much. It's not the 80s, but just a little.
Why was it not the 80s?
Just a little. And I decided just to put a little cuff on the bottom. So I actually followed the instructions for Tilly's cuff extension pack that she released on her blog afterwards. So I made a little cuff with a little button, little peephole in there. To be honest, it gets on and off without you having to undo that button, so it's really just for show. But it was a nice little detail.
Yeah.
I rounded off the collar as well. You can't really see. I think I might do it. I wouldn't usually wear it done up, but I think
it looks sweet done up.
I might do it up so that you can see the collar properly, because I'm not sure that it shows that well otherwise. I've got these lovely little heart-shaped buttons which are very cute, but they are a bit of a nightmare to do up, so not that you have to be doing them up and undoing them all the time, but now you can see that I've got this little rounded collar, which I just decided that I would prefer, and then I also actually, if I stand up slightly, I shortened it by about 3 inches, just because everything I wear is cropped, and it's just long enough for me to tuck into my high-waisted trousers, but it's a nice length on me when I'm wearing it over the top of trousers or a skirt.
I was very pleased because it's the first time I've ever done anything this complex, apart from my winter coat, but that was different. This, because it was a woven fabric that was kind of stiff, didn't have any stretch, you had to be quite precise with the sewing, I think. Yeah. And I was quite pleased. I haven't done a placket before. I've done a soft collar, but I've not done anything like that with an under collar and everything like that. And I'm really pleased actually, that decision to do that sort of peacock blue thread.
Top stitching.
With top stitching thread, because that's one thing I would say about it. If you've got a very plain fabric, then you can add detail just by adding an accent colour, even something just slightly deeper than the actual colour of the fabric.
Yeah,
and
like
I think that makes a big difference.
It's interesting seeing Nikki wearing this sort of silhouette, because you do wear a lot of shirts, but they're probably more sartorial. They're more sort of boyish. Cut.
more roomy, like a work shirt. This is it's proper fitted.
So for this one to be curved and to go in and out, it's unusual seeing you in it. But I think you look great in it. And I love it on you.
I noticed the difference putting it on in comparison with my normal shirts, where I would just sort of whip it on and have both sleeves in at the same time. I had to put one on and then wiggle my arm, because clearly it's much fitted, more fitted. But I do love it, and I think it does show off my figure. And I, like I said, I'm going to make at least 2 or 3 more. So.
Yeah. And I
be
thought the
lots.
pattern was really good. I thought the instructions were really very clear. And as always with Tilly, you get all these great pictures to show you the step-by-step instructions. There are a couple of things that I would potentially advise when you're doing the pivot on the back of the shirt. So obviously you've got this V-shaped yoke on the back of the shirt. It's all right. I'll edit that bit out. It's got this V-shaped yoke at the back of the shirt, and actually the instructions for inserting that aren't particularly clear, but I've done that on a number of other patterns before. I've got a number of 60s dresses which actually have a similar sort of V that comes up under the bust. So one thing that I would advise is just around the little V shape on the yoke is just to stay stitch, just maybe an inch either side, but actually going over the pivot point. Then you can actually cut into that V shape. So you're doing this on the shirt portion, not on the yoke portion, so the inverted V. If you actually snip into that pivot point, then it just means that you can open out both sides of the shirt. Then I would recommend that you actually start at the pivot point and work your way out when you stitch it together.
That's what we did, wasn't
and
it?
then repeat that, start at the pivot point on the other side and work your way out. That way, if it shifts, you're not going to end up with it all shifting on one side.
No.
And you can be absolutely sure that your pivot point is staying spot on where it needs to be in the middle all the way through. So that's a little tip that I would advise.
That was the trickiest bit, probably, that and the collar. I did have a bit of unpicking on the yoke at the back.
Yeah,
I can't remember what I'd done to it, but I'd done something and got a little pinch.
You got a little pinch because you'd followed the instructions,
yes,
I think,
so
and then I told you my secret.
She blasted ahead. She was already 2 steps ahead of me and forgot to tell me the tricks. But that's fine. I like that. I like learning. I like seeing what happens when you do it a different way, and then you can go, oh, that makes a difference when you do it a different way.
Yeah.
So
and I would advise with Tilly's patterns, make sure you read them all properly, because it's very easy if you know what you're doing when you're sewing just to skim past them. But there are some really useful little tips in there.
Yes.
So one of the tips that she gave was to actually change the placement of the buttons so that one of your buttons ended up being in the fullest point of your bust.
If you're a booby.
And I decided, because I had the bit between my teeth at that point, and just decided I wanted to get it finished and I couldn't be bothered to worry about repositioning all the buttonholes and everything. I just wanted to do it. So I ignored that bit, and as a result I've actually sewn a little snap in there, because it is a bit gapey without it. If I'd have listened, I wouldn't have needed to do that.
Exactly.
So I would definitely recommend that you pay attention to the instructions, read them all through.
But other than that, it was great with the pattern itself. There's a lot of pattern pieces.
Yeah, and if you've not made a shirt before, that can be a bit daunting.
Yes.
But the pieces are all explained. They all need to be there, and the instructions are very clear, and you whiz through them in no time. So you might start off with a big pile of pieces and think, oh, this is going to take me forever, but it comes together very quickly.
Yeah. One thing I do, and I'm a lot more new to dressmaking than Rachel is, but when I have complex pieces like that, so you've got pieces for the side and bits for the back and everything like that, when I'm not sure what they all are, I leave the pattern pieces, I leave the paper pattern pinned on until and even when I'm sewing them, I will just it'll say get your back piece, and I'll get the back piece and I'll take it all off, so I know that's the back piece. If I take all the pattern pieces off, I have no idea what bit's what. Yeah. So I think that's a good tip if you're a beginner, especially for something that's as complex as this, that has so many, you don't know what's the upper collar, what's the under collar, that kind of thing. I think
you can also, if you want to just speed things up a little bit, you can just use an air erasable marker or tailor's chalk and actually mark either the pattern number or the name of the pattern, or post-it notes that you can pin on, anything like that. But if you think you are going to get confused, I think that if you really look closely at the shape, then you can work out which piece is which, but that does come with experience. I think it definitely helps to have them labelled, whether that's leaving the pattern piece on or doing it with chalk. It's definitely useful. So what other plans do we have for making more? I think that I am going to potentially, because I've made shirts before and blouses before, but what I haven't done is this sort of separate yoke front and back. So often with a shirt you'll have a separate yoke piece on the back, but the front will be one solid piece. So I quite like that detail. Nice. I loved Tilly's mock fell stitching, so I think that you get that mock flat fell seam, so I think that I might incorporate those into something else. But what I'm thinking is maybe a shirt dress, so sleeveless, using the bodice half, probably with the standard collar shape, but actually cutting it off at my true waist, and then putting a gathered skirt or circle skirt or one of the skirts from my 50s patterns on the bottom of it. In another cotton. I'm thinking like a gingham or something, like a picnic dress or something might be quite nice.
And you did mention some kind of cowboy shirt.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I do think that I might need a full-on red gingham piping everywhere. Similar style to this, but just in a much more cowboy style. Might even be fringing sewn into these bits here so that I can do a little shimmy.
Just takes it to the extreme every time.
You never know when you might be invited to a barn dance. It's always handy to have the right equipment.
Always handy. Whereas, in comparison, I've got my pale mint green one, I've got my Liberty fabric, and I was thinking I might do a plain white one.
Oh,
because I think a plain white one would be really useful.
It would be useful, and you can always then go really sleeves. Funky with the buttons if you've got a plain white one.
I'm slightly obsessed with women wearing ties. I quite like a woman in a tie. Yeah. So I'm thinking if I had a couple of like little plain white ones that were really fitted, and get a few sort of like slim ties.
Or you could even tie this rounded collar, but then with the nice sort of black bow that you tie up around the front.
Something like
that. Be quite nice.
Yes. So she's done fringing. I'm doing plain white.
Extremes as always. So that's about it for the Rosa. We hope you've enjoyed seeing us make
Tilly.
it.
Loved it.
We will definitely be making more. So if you have the pattern, thinking about it, a bit nervous about it, then just go for it. You'll really enjoy it, and I think it will become a wardrobe staple.
Definitely. Once you make one, you can make 10.
Absolutely. So we'll see you again soon for another video. Take care, guys.
Bye. Guys.